Hey everyone, Alexa here from the blog theduvalhomestead.com, where I like to share with you our farm-to-table recipes and our simple homemade natural living from our homestead here in Duval. And today I want to share with you my top 10 summer farmhouse kitchen essentials. Now this is different than a overall kitchen essentials video where I talk about how I love my cast iron and what knives to use and the Instant Pot. It's not really a basic kitchen video, it's more of a summer video because you know that in the summertime, as seasons change, you need to bring in different utensils, use different things as the farmhouse functions and processes, or your homestead or wherever you live. And I want to share with you how we keep cool during the summertime, how I bring in fresh herbs and flowers and vegetables into the kitchen, and just kind of the top 10 or so items that I really rely on in the summertime to make my kitchen functioning properly. I will link all of the products I talk about in this video, if they are on Amazon, below in the description. Also head on over to theduvalhomestead.com for more details, loads of free recipes and free printable recipe cards, and you'll even find some ebooks, just lots of stuff on there. So the first item is a freezable bag, and this is not a Ziploc bag, it is a BPA-free material that I use for smoothie ingredients, and right now there's bananas in here, that's usually what I use. And I just cut up the bananas and I put them in this bag. This is super helpful in the summertime because whenever I buy bananas, they always go bad really fast because it's so hot out. So we make smoothies every morning, and so this is what I use to keep our smoothie ingredients nice and fresh. The next item are quart size wide mouth mason jars. Now if you use mason jars already, you know how amazing they are. It's like they can be a cup, they can be a bowl, they can be a mixing bowl, they can be a canning jar, they can be a fermenting jar. So we use mason jars for a lot of different things. Okay, another thing I go through a lot in the summertime would be other mason jars. Small mason jars, cream jars, which is what I get from like the local dairy if we buy cream. And I use this for homemade salad dressing. So really the idea here is I try to do the least amount of manual labor around cooking as possible in the summertime because it's so hot. Especially if I turn the oven on, I'll just be sweating in the kitchen and it'll be like an aerobic activity for me to make dinner, which is fine with me. But I do try to do a lot of, I don't want to say meal prep, but like getting ingredients together beforehand to make things easier every single night, just because the evening is actually the hottest time. So this is salad dressing. I put this in a mason jar and I have this little lid that is specifically meant for pouring, and it works really well. So that's my salad dressing. And then in these two jars, I have dried flowers. Now this is calendula and bachelor's button. I think I'm saying that right. Or is it calendula? And what I do with these is I pick the flowers from the garden because we grew these this year, and then I simply dry them in the oven, or I put them in olive oil and I put them on some heat, and then I'm making a calendula infused oil, and then I can then use this to make lotion. I'm just taking advantage of the fact that we have all these flowers growing right now in the summertime, and I know that when I use this for lotion and I wear the lotion in the fall or the winter if we still have any, I'll smell it and I'll remember what it was like to make this in the summertime. Okay, the next thing would be a bowl for composting. We do compost in our backyard. The best thing about composting is that you don't have to waste your eggshells, your coffee beans, your carrot heads, your celery heads, your peppers, your onion skins, your garlic skins. Basically half, if not 3/4 of the trash is actually going in the compost bin or to the chickens. So I always have a bowl on my counter for the compost food, and I also, right now, I'm keeping the eggshells in a separate cup because the chickens actually eat these as part of their calcium diet, so I'm going to feed it to them directly. But this also can go in the compost bin. The other use for eggshells, if you don't know, is you can put them in your garden and help prevent slugs, because the slugs going over the eggshells is really rough. So I do that as well. So we really don't throw away eggshells. There's no reason to. You can use them for so many ways. Okay, my next essential item that you need to have in your farmhouse kitchen is a KitchenAid mixer. I was using a handheld mixer for the longest time. I just got this KitchenAid this year, and it is pretty life-changing if you want to be baking or making dough products. So you're not having to knead the dough and you're not having to mix with your hand, just because again, those are all activities that get really hot. So I have this KitchenAid mixer. I use it mostly for tortilla dough and pizza crust, because both of those recipes are just a combination of flour and water and salt. and then I put the dough hook in, and then it's done. I just have it go and then it's done. It's a lifesaver in the summertime because it's just my little handy friend that can mix things up for me. Another essential item is the Instant Pot. I've talked about the Instant Pot in a few of my other videos, but if you don't know what that is, it's basically a stovetop pot that doesn't go on the stove. It's hooked into an outlet and it's a pressure cooker, so it has a lid. So it functions like a big stock pot, but it is a pressure cooker, so you can make a whole chicken in it, you can make soups, you can make broth, you can make chili, you can make yogurt. It's great all year round, but in summertime, the reason it's especially important is because, again, you don't have to use your stove. You can't feel any heat coming out from it, so it's a really nice way to cook soups or chicken even and not turn your oven or your stove on. Okay, the next thing that is an essential in our kitchen for the summertime is a diffuser for essential oils. I will drop tea tree oil or citronella for the prevention of bugs. So I talk about this a little bit in another essential oil video that I do that will be upcoming. If you are trying to get rid of bugs, mosquitoes, spiders, ants, you can use essential oils really well for that, because an essential oil is essentially a very strong extracted oil from a plant, flower, root, seed, or part of nature. And so it's very highly concentrated. So if you put tea tree oil in the diffuser, then you're going to be spraying that all over the air, and that really helps at night, especially because, like I said, when it's 80 degrees in here, we have to open the windows. Well, what happens when you open the windows at nighttime? The mosquitoes come in. In the last few days especially, have brought this diffuser out, and it's now officially going to stay on the counter because it's now getting really hot. And that is how we help prevent bugs. On a side note, I also use those oils to clean the floor as well, because that way if there's any spiders or bugs coming in through the corners of the house, they are not attracted to those scents. My next essential item for your farmhouse kitchen would be anything with ticking stripes. Just bringing in a nice soft pillow or a white and gray or maybe a navy blue and white ticking stripe pattern can be kind of beachy or nautical, and it really helps to brighten up your kitchen in the summertime. I sometimes feel like decorating is a chore, and it's like, why would I bring something into this room that's already really busy and I've got food everywhere, and it doesn't need any decorations, it's already got a bunch of stuff in it. But I do like pillows. I think that they're really cozy, and just adding a pillow to a space can really bring a lot of texture and warmth and friendliness, especially the ticking stripe, because it's really beachy, and I like to kind of look around and feel like this is not a beach house, because it's not, but kind of the feeling of go outside and play and come in with dirt on our feet, and it's just a very summery feeling. I don't know if that makes any sense. Okay, my next item is the Oster blender for smoothies. Now, I did a previous video on the NutriBullet for smoothies. If you are really into making smoothies every morning, the NutriBullet is a great tool because it blends up really fine, so you can put in nuts and dates and whatever you want, it will turn into liquid. I switched over to the Oster blender because I wanted to be able to blend more volume, so I wanted to be able to do soups and like food processing, because we don't have a food processor. So that is why I got this one, and it does stay on my counter because we also make smoothies with it every single morning. The other reason why I like this one is because it's hands-free, so you can just put your ingredients in the pot, put the lid on, and then press start and walk away. Whereas the NutriBullet, it's like a manual process. So again, another hands-free item that keeps you cool in the summertime. Okay, my next item is a chalkboard. I make bread, tortillas, pizza, pie, so many things with bread and my sourdough starter. I have a little chalkboard here with my sourdough recipes, and this is especially helpful because every bread product, if you don't know, if you've never made bread, essentially bread is a combination of flour and water, and a tortilla is a combination of flour and water, and pizza crust is a combination of flour and water. But they're all different proportions of flour and water, so it's really important that you get those right. So instead of writing them down or looking online, I just made my own recipes for all of those things and wrote them on a chalkboard, which just sits in the kitchen. So I have the bread one memorized because I've done it so many times, but I like having the pancake one out and the tortillas and the pizza, and it's really helpful for cooking all summer. Okay, the next essential item is a wire rack for cooling. You may already have one of these, but I would encourage you to just use it more. It's really helpful if you bake something in the oven or you have a stovetop pot, like a stock pot, when it first comes off the stove or out of the oven, it's always really hot. And you can put it on like a hot pot pad or a towel or just your counter, but putting it on something like this will cool it faster. And again, I'm all about cooling down the kitchen. So I use this so much. So it's really nice for cooling. Okay, my last two essentials. This is getting longer than 10, I think. But the last two for summertime that I'll talk about in this video would be cooking twine and a pair of plant cutters. So before I started gardening quite a bit, I just had regular scissors, and I never realized how much better it is to cut your plants with a pair of actual cutters. There's probably a better name for them. The cooking twine I use for drying herbs. I rarely use this for cooking, actually. I used to read that for making a roast like a chicken, you'd have to tie the feet together with cooking twine, but I have never actually done that. So I own this and I use it for drying herbs. Dry herbs, you just want to go pick them fresh from the garden and then just hang them with enough space for them each to dry out. Alright, well thank you so much for joining me for this video and for learning about my 10 top farmhouse summer kitchen essentials. I hope that you found this helpful. If you are looking at this video and it is before summertime, it is a great time to make sure you're ready for the heat and for any other gardening or farmhouse activities you might be doing this summer. If you're new to my page, make sure you subscribe on YouTube and like on Facebook. Every week I post new farm-to-table recipes and homemade natural living from our homestead in Duval. Thank you so much for stopping by our homestead.